This is Susan Holmes. On Thursday, January 9th, 2020, I went and filed an extreme risk protection order, a petition and affidavit against Officer Phillip Morris, the respondent. I'm showing you the filing right here. Phil Morris has used his firearm to recklessly and violently threaten and kill my son, 19-year-old Jeremy Holmes. In 2013, Phil Morris brutally attacked a CSU employee. It was witnessed by 3 different individuals. That's the evidence I've included in the ERPO under the red flag law. Scrolling up, you can see it. Here's the timestamp, January 9th, 2020, Larimer County District Court. If we scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see that I signed it under a notary. So it was filed on July 9th, 2020. Now, why did I file this ERPO under the red flag law? Well, I've never received any justice. And neither has my son, Jeremy Holmes. He was slaughtered by Officer Phil Morris. Phil Morris shattered his spine. Jeremy was bled out, almost all of his blood, on Prospect Avenue, while Phil Morris kept screaming at him, standing there with his gun pointing at him. But here's what Phil Morris did to Jeremy from the very beginning. You can see this article here, Fort Collins Police Corruption. DA creates false narrative to clear violent officer. That's exactly what happened. DA Rydell, very famous for clearing crimes of police in Fort Collins and at CSUPD, no matter what they do. These 2 shots were taken from the body camera footage off of the Coloradoan. Now, according to the Coloradoan, they altered the video. They deleted parts of it. They even stated that. And CSU won't provide anybody with a copy, not even a redacted copy. I went to court. If you review my videos, you'll see that I actually filed an open records lawsuit and went to court to try and get the unredacted digital records from the audio and the body camera footage so I could authenticate it and have an independent forensic analysis done. The judge ruled against me and refused to give me those records. CSU refused to give me those records. The administration, Tony Frank, refused to give me those records. And the chief of Scott Harris refused to give me those records. Because they know they murdered my son. That's why. However, here are 2 snapshots from the Coloradoan versions. As you can see here, CSU Officer Phil Morris has jumped out of his car with his gun out already, ready to kill. Ready to kill with the gun out. Do you think that falls under the red flag gun law in Colorado? I think it does. I think he should never have a gun again in his life. He shouldn't even be working as a police officer. But he still is, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, there's him jumping out of his vehicle with his gun out, pointing at, like, they pixelated Jeremy's face in this video, and I don't know why. Because nothing was happening here. Because in this image, you can see Jeremy's just quietly walking down the street, doing nothing, no harm to anybody, nothing. This is the front end of the police vehicle as he pulls up and then jumps out of his car with his gun out. This officer, and I stated in another video, will be able to confiscate your guns, even though he's out of control and violent and kills teenagers. Confronts, creates a violent confrontation, and then kills them. Okay, if you go through this article, I'll post this link to this article below this video. And of course, the DA lied for him. You know, if you read this article, you'll be able to see this quote here. This is exactly a screenshot from the DA's report where he lied. Completely lied about Jeremy's direction. He said he was approaching Aggie Village going west on Prospect. That's exactly what Jeremy was doing. He was walking west on Prospect. He wasn't going into Aggie Village. There's no entrances here all the way to the end. There's no entrances into Aggie Village. Way back here in this light over here, that was the only entrance you can get in to Aggie Village. That was 70, 80 yards behind Jeremy. But no, the DA lied, which is what they do here. How Phil Morris, that wasn't the only time Phil Morris committed a completely violent act with his gun. He also brutally attacked, right here, an article in 2014, brutally attacked a CSU employee. Here's 3 witness statements. You can read this article. I'll put the link under there. But after this CSU employee was brutally attacked, 3 witness statements about the brutality of the attack. Here's what CSU Police Chief Scott Harris says. The actions of the officer which resulted in your complaint did in fact occur. However, those actions were found to be justified, lawful, or proper. You see, this is how dirty police work. Chief Scott Harris is a dirty cop, and so is Phil Morris. Phil Morris is a dirty cop. They've been working together for a long time, protecting each other, covering for each other with their crimes. Okay? I'll put that below there. Let me show you. So, we go over here. Here's the article from 2014 that talks. CSUPD officer accused of brutality. That's Officer Phil Morris, cleared by DA. There you go. You can look it up yourself. And then the dirty cop, Chief Harris, covers for him. The one who refused to give me police records. And just to show you that Corporal Phil Morris, email Phil Morris at Colorado State EDU, he's still working at CSUPD. It doesn't matter how violent a police officer is, CSUPD keeps them on their force. And just to show you, here's the time and date, July 13th. Phil Morris is still working there. Now you see why I filed an ERPO, Extreme Risk Protection Order, under the red flag law. This is why Colorado citizens should be allowed to file ERPOs. Phil Morris is the perfect example for why we should be allowed to do that. That man should have his gun taken away from him, and he should never be able to work as a police officer. But once again, it's evidence of the ring of corruption that I've been exposing in all my videos. But here it is. I did file it with Judicial 8 District Court. Let's see if any ethical judge will ever give me justice or give Jeremy justice for the brutal death that was created by Phillip Morris, Officer Phillip Morris, Colorado State University.